everybody, welcome back to another episode of Fix Your B.S, where B.S stands for belief systems, and we talk about 5 major pillars of life. If you're playing in a high level in all 5 of these pillars, you are living an amazing life. Those 5 pillars are, as you know, relationships, career/business, money/finances, health, and faith/belief. We always try to bring you amazing people that I run across in different aspects of my life. And today I'm bringing you somebody that I ran across on Instagram doing some amazing things and has some great insight into multiple pillars. And so we're going to do a quick introduction and we're going to get to it. Cole's got some amazing history that he's going to be able to share, and I know will resonate with a lot of this audience. So without further ado, today I am introducing you to Cole Lewis DaSilva. Look him up on Instagram for sure. He is a 29-year-old entrepreneur, father and husband, motivational speaker, and gym owner. From struggling with addiction and a lack of purpose to transforming thousands of lives while making over 7 figures, he's here to help others build and leave a legacy for their people. Love that intro. Welcome, Cole. Appreciate you being here.
Bro, thank you for the invite. I'm super excited. This is actually something that was on my vision board, something that was on my goals, was to do collaborations and podcasts and just try to get in front of more people to serve this year. So the fact that I got this opportunity is awesome. Thanks for having me.
Man, isn't that what it's all about? You go through struggles in your life, and I know so many of the people that listen to me have a lot of those struggles where they find themselves addicted to different things, whether it's an alcoholic substance, or whether it's pills, or whether it's social media or the internet or whatever. And we really try to give them tips and tricks to really understand why they are, driven back to those things, or why they go back to them. I mean, what do you think it is? What do you think they're, or what did you run into, I guess? What did you find out about yourself in overcoming those type of, I don't want to say addictions, but, the things that you just kind of would always fall back to, the habits that you fall back to?
A big reason why I found myself kind of reverting back to my old habits, struggling with my Percocet addiction, going back to alcohol on a continual basis, was due to my lack of confidence in my own insecurities. And I didn't really figure that out until later on in life. Like, even once I beat my addictions, it was just like, oh, I beat them. Like, it's all good. And I was like, well, I just went back to them because I was bored, but not really. When I actually dissected and looked back at it, it was me falling prey to my own insecurities, wanting to seem like a certain person. I actually had this conversation with someone the other day, and I don't know if you ever liked dancing. I love dancing my ass off. I met my wife, I'm not good. I got no game, but I'm really good at dancing. So we went to the bar. It was good for me. But I always found myself I would only dance when I was drunk. I would only say I could dance when I was all liquored up. I didn't have the confidence before. And I felt like that was coming through in a lot of different areas. So I feel like that was probably one of my biggest problems. I had a lot of insecurities internally that I didn't deal with. And due to that, I would supplement with a drug or a substance to kind of deal with that insecurity to make me feel better.
Man, I think that is so true to so many people, especially the comment that you made. You would say to yourself, well, I can't go dancing unless I'm liquored up. And it's really, if you break that down, number one, that's a belief. You're stating something you believe. Well, I can't do this because of this. And then number two, really, it's you're afraid of what other people might think of you when you're out on that dance floor. That's really what it is. It's that insecurity. Well, what if they don't like you? Well, what I always say is, well, who cares? If you love you, then what do you care if they like you or not? Yes. Really, people will come down on you when you're doing something that they don't feel comfortable with themselves doing. So most of the time, it has nothing to do with you individually. I mean, did you find that out, figure that out over time, and just say, you know what, heck with this. I'm going to do what I want to do and act on my highest passion no matter what? Or was there a moment that you remember?
Well, so my story is a little bit different than most individuals, but also not really, because we've all been through something crazy. Anybody who's doing something with their life, from what I've seen, has gone through some grand moment. Well, I went from ironworking, struggling with Percocet addiction, struggling with alcohol, found fitness, got into fitness, tried to be something I wasn't. And then near the early stages of me starting my fitness career, getting into fitness coaching, bodybuilding, business coaching for fitness coaches, and way more, I found out that no matter what, people are going to fucking hate you in any aspect. Like I was trying to be articulate and speak without swearing and dissect my message a certain way, and people would hate on me. And then I would try to mix it up and people would hate on me. And then you would have a certain opinion, especially in the fitness industry, because it's very opinionated and everybody's got an ego. No matter what I would do, there was always a negative opinion. So I just had this snap moment where I was like, I'm done. Like I'm not going to try to sound like something I'm not. I'm not going to try to be the science guy. I'm not going to try to change who I am to fit in their box. I'm going to be 100% me. And if you don't like it, there's something called a door. Please walk through it. I don't care anymore.
You know, I found that over and over working with individuals and groups, that we talk about finding your authentic self and just being true to that, you know. And when I say is, you know, act on your highest passion, what that really is your authentic self without any, you know, without judgment of yourself. Yes. What are they going to think about me? And what is that? What happens if, who cares about any of that? You know, like if you feel like you want to sing, who cares if they don't like it? Yeah, well, whatever, just sing, man. Let it
yes.
Let it go. What if it makes you happy, do it. Right. I mean, geez. So that's awesome though, that you got to that point. Cause most people I've found will never get to that point. They live someone else's life. They just keep reiterating someone else's idea of who they should be.
Yeah.
And obviously that's going to lead to frustration and anger and anxiety. And I think that's when people start turning to stuff, turning to other things to numb themselves, to I don't know, drift away. If you've ever read a book I quote a lot or talk about a lot is Outwitting the Devil. And talks about drifting a lot and how you get distracted because you're not acting on your actual purpose of what you're meant to do. So looking at that, man, so you took overcome some stuff. You took this idea and said, you know, I'm going to turn this into, which your nickname, The Wolf, which you have turned into a brand and a business, which a lot of people are trying to do. So where did that come from? Like, and then how did all that come together?
Well, it's actually very funny because from the outside, individuals look at my brand, right? With like the followers and the everybody supporting me, and they're like, oh, this guy's like, he's created off the brand. I'm going to say this very bluntly. I don't make money from my social media on any aspect. All right. So let me explain why and give you the breakdown of it. So I became a fitness coach underneath and beside my business partner, Brian Mark, where we were scaling up a business in Calgary, Alberta, helping people online through online fitness coaching. And that's really what we specialize in now, helping other coaches do the same. Well, when we were working together in our company called Aesthetic Nation, we all had our little pods of clients operating underneath the same business. I got bored of just calling my clients like Cole's clients. So I was like, how do I make them feel more like a culture? Because in any company, in any sports team, in anything, when you have your little pod, you always go farther. Like you just feel better because everybody's like so aligned. So I started calling my clients underneath our core company Cole's Wolves. The reason why I call them Cole's Wolves is because I've always loved wolves. I'm like an animal nut. It was even to the degree when I first started as an entrepreneur, my wife would come home from a regular job before we were able to retire her, and she'd just hear like the African lion safari, like all the time. I'm always listening to these random documentaries. Wolves are my favorite, and it just resonated with me. So called my clients Cole's Wolves, Cole's Wolves, Cole's Wolves. Would always preach about the relentless run, the relentless work ethic, never giving up, crushing it. We don't stop till we eat, like different mindsets of that. And my clients just started calling me the Wolf. So it stuck. And then I just took that and ran with it because I love wolves, got 2 wolves tattooed on my chest. It's my whole brand. And then the reason why the motivational thing came up on my Instagram and my TikTok and blew up the way that it did was actually because I just needed an outlet. So when we transitioned from fitness coaching to business coaching, where Brian and myself now run a business coaching company called PT Domination, we have over 1,400 clients making around $8 to $10 million a year. And we serve PTs. We help them grow and scale their online businesses. Well, he's the face / marketing machine, and I'm the back end coach. So when it came down to social media, I wasn't doing anything. I was just like, I didn't need to be on social media. I was grinding and teaching our clients. So what I started to do is I would just start to rant and talk about things that would bother me, things that I struggled with personally, things that I thought people needed to hear. And it just exploded. Like it blew up on every platform and just hit the ground running. So that's what I do now.
You know, it's funny though, there's so many people that I coach individually that are still trying to figure out their message.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out who they are, their authentic self. And what's funny is that when you get out of the way and you actually learn who that is and you just say, heck with everybody else, I'm going to be me. And then you start putting that out there. What you'll find is it resonates with a lot of people. Now, here's the rub with that. It also does the opposite to a lot of people as well. And those are the haters. And so people want to be their authentic self, but they want to avoid the haters. And I'm like, that's not possible. If you're going to be you, there's going to be somebody, there's going to be at least one person that just absolutely dogs on you.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to be ready for that. I wrote my first book back in 2014, and it got picked up by a local newspaper. They did a story on it. And there was a quote in the book. It said, 80% of families with special needs kids get divorced. And I don't remember where the quote was at this point, but at that point, it was literally taken. It was a quote from a study. All right. And this lady just went off on me, and it really affected me. I'm like, man, I just was trying to help people understand that it adds more stress onto something that a lot of times is already stressful.
Yes.
And, now with social media, and it's bigger than it was then, people just go off. So how do you overcome that? And how do you work with people to overcome that? Look, I want to be me, but I'm scared of these negative Nancys and these people that are going to come at me.
I really like that question, honestly. So I used to say, and I used to answer that question as like, who cares? Just block it out. Eventually you'll reach a point where you don't care anymore. And then I realized that I needed to stop saying that because it's very irresponsible. Because let's be real, everyone cares, and you never stop caring. Even today, like I get an extraordinary amount of pushback and hate on my social media, which is also fair because I post a lot of very broad statements and very intense videos on my social media. But I think the biggest thing that I teach everybody now, and I try to express as much as I can, is that you need to understand that 90% of the time, people are just hating on what they gave up on. So when they see you doing something on social media, they are usually expressing hatred, frustration, anger, whatever, negativity, due to the fact that you are living the life that they want to live, but don't understand how to get out of. You found the way out of the darkness when they are still stuck in the dark room. And that's helped me a lot. That helped me like get out of the mindset of like, well, I'm just trying to serve. I'm just trying to help. It also helped me get out of the mindset of I need to justify everything that comes out of my mouth. Because I used to be that person. I would say one thing, and then you would have this person have an opinion, and then you'd say another thing, and then you have this person have an opinion. I just realized quickly that I'm like, there's 8 billion people on this planet. I cannot join everybody's conversation in their head. I cannot make everybody happy. So I'm going to say something, and if you don't like it, it's okay, because that mirror is super bright, and right now it's shining right back in your ears, right back in your eyes, and you're eventually going to have to face it, or you're just going to continue to hate me forever, which also is another tagline I use called #HateMe, meaning I will take your hate as long as you realize that you're doing something wrong and you stop hating yourself.
Yeah. And you know what? That is an ultimate thing where you can control your own emotions to someone else's process. Sanguru, I don't know if you ever listen to him, but Sanguru is a guy that I listen to. He talks about that. He says, if someone can control your emotions by their words, then that you are their slave. They're in control of you. And so,
quote I heard, sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but
no, you're glad.
You just sparked it. There was actually a quote I heard, and it was, if you're always worried about what somebody else think, your life is never truly yours. And I remember I heard that at around 22. And when I heard that, it really hit, and it would always come up when I would get stressed and overwhelmed and like angry and frustrated when I would see all this like negativity towards me. And then it just kept coming back up. Like if I'm always worried about what they think of me, my life is never truly mine, because I'm not operating from a place of my purpose. I'm operating from a place of proving them right or wrong.
Right. You should love yourself more than anyone else can hate you. That's what I always say. Love yourself more than anyone else can hate you. And that means you have to give a little bit of grace to yourself. You got to give yourself a little grace. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to mess up. You're going to trip. But it's how quick you rise back up above or get back on plane. So if your plane is a higher standard and you dip below, it's how quick you get back up to that standard. Yes. Whereas most people will beat themselves up for a day, a week, a month, or a year and become their personality.
Yes, dude. And then next thing you know, they look back at their life and they're like, where did I go wrong? And it's not like, where did I go wrong? It's what am I doing wrong right now? Like the past is the past. You can't fix it. What are you doing right now? I always tell people, like, we've all done things in our past that we regret. We've all done things in our past that we wish we could go back and rectify because it would have bettered our current lifestyle, but not really. So just look at what you're doing now, your habits, your rituals, your daily actions, how you speak, how you articulate yourself, how you speak to yourself, and then change it. So in a year, in a day, in a week, in a month, you can live a better life.
Mm. That's so true. And it sounds so simple, but people do get hung up in the past, and they sit there and dwell on it and dwell on it. And it just becomes, if you live in the past, it becomes your future.
Yes.
Because there's nothing changing. I talk about the four main things that that occur in order for your future to be built. Number one is your beliefs. That turns into your thoughts, which turns into your words, which turns into your actions. And that's how you create your life. And so if you believe that, well, I'm worthless because, and you point to something in your past, I can tell you nothing's going to change in your future because that's what you believe. So you're going to talk like that, you're going to think like that, and then you're going to act like that. And that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. If you want to take the rocking chair test at the end of your life, you're looking back and you go, I wish I would have, I wish I could have, I should have. If you have any of those statements right now, now is the time to write those down and start taking action toward them. And it's really that simple, but we make it so complicated. So, I mean, what do you think? Why do we make it so complicated as human beings? Because most things are pretty simple, especially in those 5 pillars I talk about. You know, if you want a better relationship, I can teach you right now how to have an amazing relationship. A business or career, there are steps that you can take right now. Yeah. Oh, health, same thing. It's just repetition over time. And so what do you think, you know, when people get into those things, they make things so complicated. Why do they do that? What do you think that's from?
I think it's pain. People want to avoid pain. I talked about this the other day in one of my videos based off of self-sabotage, because everybody always says this, right? Like, I'm self-sabotaging. None of them actually really know what it means or can actually define it. They just hear it online and want to restate it or break it down again. But I did a video on it explaining that I think / I can see that a lot of people self-sabotage due to them avoiding pain, or a lot of people make it more complicated than it needs to be because they're trying to avoid pain. And what I mean by that is, if they actually just did the steps, if they actually just crossed the finish line instead of self-sabotaging, that means all the story, everything they've been using as an excuse, as justification, a reason for why they couldn't win, couldn't do the steps, couldn't take action, would become bullshit. And then their entire identity that they've been living with the entirety of their life would be fake. It would just be all ridiculous.
Yep.
And that is so painful to let go of. Your entire identity that you've been holding on to for 5, 10, 15, 20 years of why you can't do something is gone. And that's going to be an extremely painful process to cut that side of you away, cut that arm off, cut that leg off. So I think people just don't do it because they avoid the pain. They know it's going to hurt like crazy. In their mind, their subconscious mind, they know they can, but they're going to have to let go of something and they don't want to.
You know, it's so funny how aligned we are. And I talk about principles of life because there's a lot of public speakers and personal people that I work with that and even the old, original goats of personal development and coaching and that sort of thing, like Jim Rohn and, Tony Robbins and all, they all talk about the same stuff, just wrapped in different things. And it's all principles. And something I really use a lot, which you just alluded to, is it a reason or an excuse?
Yeah.
So people dress up their excuses and they call them reasons. And so if you just ask that question, well, I can't because, and I go, anything after because, is it a reason or is it an excuse? Well, I can't work out because, because what? I don't have time. Is that a reason or an excuse? And then you dive down to the next level because you go, well, that's really an excuse. I do have time. Okay, what are you going to say now?
Yeah.
Okay, is that a reason or an excuse? And you get down to it. It's like, well, I really don't want to take the effort to actually do it because I always quit and I'm always scared that when I quit, I feel bad about myself. So I know that that's going to be the outcome. So why do it anyway? And you're like, now we get somewhere. So you need to change who you are as a human being and what's acceptable or not. Is it acceptable to work out 3 times a week? Or is it acceptable to work out 5? Is it acceptable to miss workouts? I mean, and then you have to come to the reality of, well, I have to become the person that says it's not acceptable to do less than 3 workouts a week. That's just who I am as a human being now. And then all of a sudden that becomes your reality. So are there any things that you do for your coaching clients or people that you work with that help them to get over that reason versus excuses type of mentality?
A big thing that, and I don't want to say that it's right, but a big thing that I do is I just put it in perspective based off of how easy most people's lives actually are and how grand they make their problems seem. So I'll use a lot of comparison in my own problems versus their problems. I'll use comparison to third world countries versus first world countries. Like I've traveled to Bali before. I don't know if you've ever been there. One of my favorite places on the planet. But there's a little island off the coast of Bali called Gili T. And when you go there, there are people who wait on you while you sleep in the villa, and they sleep on a wood plank elevated off the ground with their 2-3 children with no walls in their building. But we're complaining that we need to do a couple things, or online entrepreneurs are whining that they need to post on fucking Instagram. Like, my biggest thing is just breaking down habits and rituals needed to see success and then holding people to the fire. Like I went,
and that's the accountability. There's 7 core values I like to work with my staff or anybody that works with me. And one of them is accountability, because it's as simple as that. And if you really get to the best stage of accountability, it's holding yourself accountable. It's saying, I am responsible for me, and I am going to do the things I say I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And so if you tell somebody, look, I'm going to do this thing, first of all, you shouldn't even have to tell them, because your actions are going to speak louder than words. But actually following through with that. So what would you tell somebody that is struggling with that responsibility for their own actions of saying, I'm going to do this and I'm holding myself accountable, and that's just the way it is? Because the more you do that, like a buddy of mine, Alex Hormozy, he talks about holding yourself to that fire and having a track record of successes that show to yourself that you can hold yourself accountable, and therefore that's who you are as a human being.
Yeah. I think it starts with the little things, and a lot of people don't understand it. So they start to bite off more than they can chew, which I get. Like I 100% understand it. It's even in the aspect at the very beginning of mine in your conversation, where like, well, we play catch up in certain areas of our life because we're like, damn it, we should have done this a couple of years ago because we're high performers and we want to perform. But you can't be doing that all the time. So you got to start small and push yourself as you grow. So whenever somebody usually stresses themselves out or gets in their way, or they try to bite off more than they can chew, I just ask themselves, like, what is one thing that you can do today to hold your word to yourself? And it starts with the little shit, like the dumb stuff that no one ever wants to hear. Make your fucking bed, wake up on time, stop snoozing your alarm, brush your teeth, clean your bathroom, show up for your wife, like tell her 3 things that you love about her, like little things. Because just like Alex Hormozy said, I've heard that quote before and I love it. That is the most true statement in the world. I am a big believer in my morning routine. It's militant. I do it every day. I do not miss. But at the same time, it's not like I believe that affirmations and vision is actually going to be the thing that gets me my dream life. It's the actions I take every day that's going to get me my dream life. The affirmations are just what align me with what I want, so I have my purpose and where I'm going. But it's the work you do. And it starts with the small stuff, keeping your promises to yourself. I work out 6 times a week because I said I was going to. I box 3 times a week because I said I was going to. I post over I think it's like 30 times on social media a week right now because I said I was going to. And I don't miss, because the only person I'm letting down if I miss is me, the person I see in the mirror. Which I love. When you said responsibility, that's like, I've been playing with it in my head. I think responsibility is probably my top core value, my like main one that I focus on, because self-responsibility has been the thing that's got me everything in my life. I could instantly play the blame game for my parents being mentally and physically abusive when I was a kid, going through the middle to lower class, struggling like crazy. But even in that, like, I wouldn't be me without that. So like, you got to take it.
So that goes into gratitude. It goes into gratitude. So being responsible, but then also being grateful, even for the things that you deemed were that were uncomfortable, let's say. Yeah. So why we talk about this a lot, things are things, experiences are experiences. You put the emotion in them. You say whether they're comfortable, uncomfortable, good, bad. You're the one that puts that emotion into it. So when you look back at your life, I have a process called RIP. R is retrospective. So you look back at your life and you go, how am I defining those things? And is there a positive way that I could define them? Like you just said, you could look back at your past and you could be a victim to your past, or you could say, well, I'm really appreciative that those things happened because they made me stronger. And I'm really grateful that in that process, I became who I am today. And I like me who I am today.
Yes.
So if I like me, I should be grateful for that. And that's where affirmations come in, is you get in the habit of being grateful for everything. Like, I'm grateful that I have, 2 arms. I'm grateful that I have clothes that I can wear. I'm grateful that I have running water, and the things that you're around most of the time, obviously you get kind of used to, and then you're not as excited about because you're used to them. Oh, it's just always been there. Well, if you take them away, all of a sudden you're pretty grateful for that stuff. So just be in that habit. That will allow you to be in the habit, which turns into who you are, which turns into automatic actions, because nothing happens until you take action. And that's exactly what you're talking about, which is what I love. I love reiterating the stuff that I talk about a lot, because it makes me go, yes, more people talk about the same stuff. I love it. And because it's the way it is. It's the way it works.
Well, it's honestly like success comes from the boring action that you take every day. And a lot of people don't understand that. They want the flashy stuff. They want the flashy, quick tip secret, and it's just not there. It's through the basic, boring action that you do every day. That's how I've been able to change my life. It's how all my friends have been able to change their lives. And when it comes down to my social media and what I do is, like, I don't want to be the quick tip, trick, fancy guy. I'm the dude who's just like, shut up and do the boring stuff, like the stuff that you hate doing, that you don't want to do. I get it. I don't want to do it either, but I do it because in order to build the foundation that I can build the skyscraper on, I got to lay the bricks out.
That's awesome, man. Did you hear that quote by Mike Tyson?
No.
He says, the trick is to being successful is do the boring stuff and do the stuff you hate like you love it.
Oh, I did hear that. It's like the discipline, doing the things that you hate like you love it. I love that, dude. It's one of my favorite on social media.
It's true. Like, if you think about, like, I guarantee you, when you walk into a workout routine, like I do this, I used to do it the opposite, but now I recognize it. So I do this the right way, which is I'm going into a workout routine. The things that I'm saying in my head is, I'm going to crush this freaking workout routine. I'm going to see if I can go faster than I did before. Yep. I'm going to try to break a personal record. I'm going to see how many of these things I can do. I'm going to see how quick I can break a sweat. This is going to be a good time. I can't wait to get going. Now, you can tell I'm building myself into a frenzy already just by saying that.
Yep.
What do most people say, though, when they go into a workout routine? I'm tired. This is going to suck. I can't wait till this is over.
Mm-hmm.
And that just drains your energy. So one of the things I would recommend for anybody listening to this is, when they're going into something that they know is going to be uncomfortable, you can either embrace the suck, or you can tell yourself it's going to suck to the point where you don't want to do it. And then guess what? You won't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm. And then that's why you've been stuck for the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years. And that's why you hate your life. You don't like your bank account. You don't like how you look in the mirror. Your wife hates you. Your husband hates you, and you're not growing. It's like a never-ending cycle of negativity and toxicity in this world, where people don't want to do the suck work because it sucks. But then they think that the easy work's going to get them the better life, and it never happens. Literally.
But then they end up with a sucky life. Literally, they don't want to do the suck work because it sucks. But then they end up with a sucky situation that they're like just as equally, if not more, unhappy with. So it's so funny how people work. Well, at 29, I mean, you're 29 right now.
Yep.
Man, so you're well beyond your years, which is awesome. Love the fact that you understand this stuff so early in life, and you look at it, and I look at you, and you're like, wow, the average person in America, in America anyway, but really in the world, lives to be about 73 to 75. So it's like, man, you figured this stuff out at such a young age. You got another 45 years to look forward to all this stuff. So what does that look like to you? When you look like your future, what do you think you want to build, or where do you think that's going to head?
Oh, my empire is going to be huge. So I want a lot. I'm instead of me paraphrasing, let me just do this. My computer background is actually my vision, because I hire a lot of mentors and they make me do crazy things. They make me build up visions. In the next 25 years alone, I would like us to be running $100 million business. I want my business partner and I to be having a private jet so we could fly around the world and do massive conferences, speaking on stages. I would love the opportunity to be able to speak in front of massive crowds, 20, 10, 5, whatever, 1,000 people, because something about being on stage and like sparking that motivation, inspiration, knowledge into people in person is something that I've found an incredible passion with, speaking at 5 events so far in my life. When it comes down to the houses and vacation homes, I want to be able to give my family whatever they want, which I've already been able to do, but we want the vacation homes, the real estate empire. I would like to build a clothing business, mindset coaching business, fitness coaching business. Like I've got very grand goals for the life that I want to achieve, because even though I am still a baby in this game, I'm just not satisfied at all. And I just want more and more and more. But it's not about the money. That was something that I realized like a couple of years ago. It was around a year and a half ago. It was about the money when I started. So let's be real, I was broke as hell. We were living in a 600 square foot apartment, didn't have any money, struggling with addictions, dealing with a bunch of bullshit. And then finally scaling up, all right, hitting our $10,000 a month, 20, 30, 40, 100, 600, 800, over $1 million. And it was like, oh yeah, money doesn't do anything anymore. I'm like, what can I do now? And I actually wrote a word down, and I'll explain it to you because you asked me about the vision. Our mentor, which I've hired Bedros Cooley and Wes Watson, Dan Martell. Dan Martell recently asked me, when you look at the income, what do you want it to be? Like, pick a number, but explain it. So I picked billionaire. Now, the reason why I picked billionaire wasn't because I think billionaire is even cool, or it wasn't because I think billionaire is an even like a number that I can articulate and understand. It was more due to the fact that growing up, I've always wanted to serve and help. It's why I got into coaching. It's why I started mentorship. It's why I bettered my life and then try to give everybody else the blueprint to better their lives. But when it comes down to homeless people, people struggling with drugs, people struggling with like not having a home, that really speaks to me. And it's something I've tried to serve for a while. And in order to build halfway houses or homeless shelters or any of that, you need millions. Like I'm talking tens, hundreds of millions. So in order to supplement that life while living my dream life, billionaire is the word that I need to lean into.
That's awesome, man. You know, it's interesting. So many people that are real frugal and conservative say that they want to do more for people. They want to, they're conservative. They want to give more. They want to whatever. Well, the people with the most money, the people with the most assets, that they are the ones that have the most control over being able to give back. Yeah. And it's funny how we've been taught the opposite in our society in general. It's, you should, you know, money's the root of all evil, and a penny saved is a penny earned, and you should play small and fly under the radar. And you're like, why? Yeah. Grant Cardone has one of my favorite quotes. What's the point of having a horn if you don't toot it? Like, you got to toot your own horn. What's the point of having a horn if you're not going to toot the horn? Toot the horn. Mm-hmm. Which really means just love who you are and let your light shine for the world to see, and shine that light on as many people as possible. And guess what happens when you start focusing on only that? Money just flows into you. It's crazy. And people don't realize that. You figure out who you are, let that light shine, and then money just flows because you're just focusing on helping more people. Yeah. It's so funny how it works, but it's exactly how it works.
Dude, that's everything to me. Authenticity is the key to the life you want to live. And I say that all the time. Authenticity is the key to the life that you want to live. I feel like right now in our world and in today's society, in every business genre niche, authenticity is lacking. Everybody's trying to be the next Gary Vee, the next Hormozi, the next Tony Robbins, the next. Just be you. Like, fuck it, next. Be you. All right? Be the best you possible. I talk about that every day because that's what's helped me in all my success and what I know is going to propel me to where I want to be.
Yeah, I talk about that same thing too. Like we keep hitting the same points, but I talk about learn from those people and from their routines and what they do and whatever, but take that information and see if it aligns with who you are. And if it does, keep it. If it doesn't, push it aside.
Yes.
And you'll keep building that understanding, and it only happens through experience. So jump into those people's worlds and find them and figure out if it's somebody that you're like, yes, this is it. This emulates me. Like 80%, great, take the 80%. The rest of it, just eliminate it until you have 100% of who you are. And then just let that shine out there. And Don't worry about the outcome. Don't worry about the end result. Just let it go. And you'll be free. That's the freest person in the world. The one that doesn't have to worry about being fake or lying. And being fake is lying to yourself.
I agree.
But you walk into a room and you're just like, man, I can just be my authentic self, and I could give a crap if somebody likes me or not. There's an old quote that I really love that I don't know if I've ever said on a podcast before, but it talks about when I was 20 years old to 40 years old, I was worried about what people thought. Then from 40 to 60, I realized that I didn't care what people thought. But then I turned 60, and after 60, I realized nobody was ever really thinking about me in the first place.
Yeah.
They were just talking about you, but thinking about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get to that point where you realize they're not thinking about you anyway.
No.
They're not. Just be you. Man, Cole, this has been one of my favorite episodes, man. I really love the feedback. I love the conversation. We could have this on for hours.
Oh yeah.
But we'll have to do some stuff into the future, man. I really love having you on, and love the energy and really the message. Really love the message. So really congratulations on being there so early in life, and I look forward to seeing what you can build in your life.
Thank you.
Any final statements that you'd like to add? And then I'm going to ask you one final question after that I like to ask everybody that comes on.
Perfect. If I was to add one final statement, it's been something that I've been trying to drill into people's heads lately, would be to take messy actions on the goals that you want to achieve today before they become the regret of the past. And the reason why I want to bring that up to you guys and to everybody listening is because right now, most people have a goal that they want to achieve. Most people have something in their mind, a burning desire that they would like to take action on, but then they overthink the steps, and then based off of the fear of messing up, the fear of failure, the fear of all the steps in front of them, they never take action, then they regret it in the future. So just take messy action. We built our business to an $8 to $10 million a year business by jumping out of the plane and building the parachute on the way down. I built my social media on a fucking fluke. Like, I didn't get on social media being like, I'm going to have 1 million followers and I'm going to impact so many people. I literally just picked up a camera and started talking about stuff that I enjoyed talking about, and it blew up. And then I got a licensed paid motivational speaking career and so many things coming in because of messy action. You don't need all the fancy gigs. You don't need all the fancy partnerships. You don't need any money. You just need to put your shoes on and start walking.
First, you got to identify who you are. Know that. Know your purpose. Know your passion. Then you can hop on there right now and start talking. But I think that's what a lot of people are afraid of, is they don't know who they are. They don't know their purpose. They don't know their passion. And therefore, they don't want to say it into a camera because they don't believe them. They don't believe themselves. How can anybody else believe me if I don't believe me?
Yeah.
One final question, man. What is success to you when it comes to success in general? What is that to you?
Inner peace.
How could you do? Inner peace.
I would say inner peace. In the past, it was money to me. In the past, it was the house to me. In the past, it was cars to me. In the past, it was retiring my wife. In the past, it was making sure all my clients were happy in the line and making money. But now all that's happening. And again, I was an individual who's also successful, and anybody who's listening, when all that happens, you realize very quickly, oh, okay, well, I still want more. So am I unsuccessful? Well, no, you're successful. But now I feel at peace. Now I know when I look at my brand new baby boy who's about to turn 9 months old, he will never experience the trauma that I dealt with as a kid. And that makes me emotional to even say to you right now. That gives me the inner peace that I've always wanted. I've provided the life that I wanted for myself, for my beautiful wife, for my son, and for all of my clients. So to me, success is inner peace due to daily action.
That's awesome, man. Man, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on. I really appreciate it. That is a great definition of that. Congratulations on your baby boy and your family. Congratulations on your success. I can't wait to see what you're going to do into the future. We're definitely going to have to hook up and do some things, maybe do some collabs. Love it. Everybody, this has been another episode of Fix Your B.S. where we talk about belief systems. Obviously, Cole Lewis DaSilva, look him up on Instagram and all the social media channels. We will have the links also here. But look him up and learn a little bit from. This guy's got he's wise beyond his years. I love it. Experienced some life and now is spitting some truth. Once again, like I said, Fix Your B.S., belief systems, all about the 5 major pillars of life: relationships, career, health, faith, and finances. And we will see you next time. Until then, stay great and build the life that you want to build on your terms, which is what Fix Your B.S. is all about. Thanks again, Cole. Until next time, everybody, we will see you on the next episode.
Peace, brother.